deadly border clash between Uganda and South Sudan. At least 4 soldiers have died in a fierce firefight between South Sudan and Uganda forces along their contested border. Officials confirmed this week. Here is how it unfolded. The confrontation began on Monday, July 28, 2025, when Uganda's army alleges that South Sudanese troops crossed into its West Nile region, established a detention post inside Uganda, and refused orders to withdraw. After one Ugandan soldier was killed, Ugandan forces responded with force. Major General Felix Kulaije, Uganda's army spokesperson, stated 3 South Sudanese soldiers were killed in retaliation, while a local South Sudan official, Wani Jackson Mule, said he received 5 bodies from central Equatoria State, according to BBC. South Sudanese authorities described the event as a surprise attack by Ugandan forces in areas they claim as South Sudanese territory. This is according to Hot in Juba media. The casualties and damage. Reported fatalities vary. Uganda reports 3 South Sudanese deaths plus 1 Ugandan soldier. South Sudan claims 5 soldiers killed. Some media reports cite 6 overall deaths, including a civilian. Local Ugandan communities report additional disruptions, displaced residents, burnt houses, and 1 civilian fatality during the clashes near Yumbe, a district, and villages Fitina, Mbaya, and Goboro. Military deployment and escalation risk. Uganda has deployed reinforcements, including troops, tanks, and heavy artillery to the disputed zone of Nyainga Muda, raising fears of further escalation. Thousands of civilians, mostly women and children, as reported, have fled into schools and churches seeking shelter, with urgent humanitarian aid now needed. Responses and diplomatic fallout is what is looming, as both countries' military leaders have agreed on an immediate ceasefire and to establish a joint investigation committee to determine what triggered the incident. South Sudan Central Equatorial Governor Emmanuel Adil Anthony strongly condemned the incident as unprovoked UPDF incursion violating South Sudanese sovereignty. He called for diplomatic action from Juba. The incident disrupted scheduled peace talks between local leaders, further straining tensions internally in South Sudan and as well with Uganda. The border dispute is a long-standing flashpoint. The Uganda-South Sudan border remains poorly demarcated, partially in parts of Yumbe, Moyo, and Keji regions. A joint demarcation committee established years ago aims to finalize the border by 2027. While Uganda and South Sudan generally maintained friendly diplomatic and military relations, especially through Uganda's ongoing support for President Salva Kiir, backed by Uganda's CDF General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, deployments inside South Sudan have become increasingly sensitive since Ugandan special forces were sent to Juba in March 2025. Now, here is a quick summary of key facts for you, just typical details. On Monday, July 28, 2025, location is Uganda, South Sudan border, that is Yumbe district, and also Keji County. Deaths include 3 to 5 South Sudanese soldiers and 1 Ugandan soldier and then 1 civilian. trigger alleged South Sudan People Defense Forces incursion into Ugandan territory. What has been the response? Sudan and Ugandan counterattack with heavy weaponry. The aftermath is a ceasefire agreed, joint probe launched, thousands displaced. The border issue, ongoing border demarcation dispute. Resolution expected by 2027. Now, you may ask yourself, what's at stake? The clash marks a rare armed confrontation between two military allies, underscoring how unresolved territory lines and local tensions can rapidly escalate. And this also reminds us how important land is. The involvement of heavy armor and artillery indicates increasingly aggressive postures that risk further destabilizing border communities. Although both militaries are cooperating on an investigation, local authorities and civil society leaders urge fast diplomatic action, humanitarian relief, border de-escalation, and a strengthened peace process to prevent further loss of life. The fragile peace and cooperation underpinning Uganda-South Sudan relations are under renewed strain. Now, what happens next? The outcome of the joint investigation will be closely watched. Accountability measures or apologies could help diffuse tension. Demarcation talks must accelerate to meet the 2027 deadline, while local leaders push for buffer mechanisms to protect border villages. Continued deployment of Ugandan troops inside South Sudan may fuel resistance among local officials and government factions aligned with Riek Machar, according to numerous sources like CNN, Sky News, and BBC World News.